I'd like to call a meeting of Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 to order. Acting under the provisions of the Code of the Town of Barnstable, Chapter 112-1 through 112-7, the Historical Commission will hold a public hearing on the following applications. The following applications have been determined significant and were referred to a public hearing. This meeting of the Barnstable Historical Commission is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. Do I have anybody doing that? I don't think so. We did last time, which was a first. All righty, thank you. We ask that during the afternoon's proceedings, cell phones be turned off and conversations other than those before the commission take place outside of this remote meeting. When an application is called, we ask the applicant and all interested parties and abutters to identify themselves. Lastly, as a best practice for meetings held remotely, where we may not be able to visually identify who is speaking, we ask all commission members and participants to identify themselves before making any motion or comment. Online audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of a hearing can use the raise hand button to notify the chair. Dial-in audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of a hearing should press *9 on their phone to notify the chair. All participants will be muted. You must be recognized by the chair to participate. Our first order of business is to take a roll call of attendance, and if John is here, I don't see John, so I will take, he was in the waiting room, I know that, so it's almost happening. That's okay, I can do the attendance. Nancy Shoemaker.
Here.
Very good. Cheryl Powell. Not here at present. Jack Kay.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Barbara DiBiase.
I'm here.
You are. John Richmond is there. He's in the wings. He's in shadow today. Okay. Andrew Fisher.
Here.
See you, sir. Hi. And Robert Frazee here. Thank you very much. All righty.
Cheryl's here.
Oh, hi, Cheryl. Thank you very much. We have a full complement of folks. Hi, Chris.
I should tell you, I have to leave at 5 because I have a 5:30 meeting for Human Services.
Okay. Well, I appreciate knowing that. I'm hoping this won't be a terribly long meeting, but it's always kind of up in the air, right?
I just don't like to interrupt. So
No, that's fine. So our first item is Daniel Packard, 212 Long Beach Road, Centerville, map 206, parcel 002, built 1948. Partial demolition, add or change the front porch, add a small addition above kitchen, which was formerly a roof. And Tim, I believe you said you were here to speak to this one. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, could I just ask for a motion to open the public hearing, please?
so moved.
And a second?
I'll second it.
All righty, and Mr. Clerk, would you please take the roll for that purpose? You need to unmute yourself, John.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's
now.
Thank you,
Can you
sir.
hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah.
All right. So much fun. All right, Andrew. In favor of the motion, Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Cheryl Powell,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
John Richmond, aye.
Thank you very much, sir. Tim, you're launched. What you got?
Great. Thank you to the commission. For the record, Tim O'Neill from O'Neill Bose Building Company, here representing 212 Long Beach Road and the Packards with this project. The original structure built in 1948, and in our kind of research going through the house, but also pulling up town records and the building department files, it had been lifted and placed on a new foundation in 1992. And at that time is where this current addition and rework on the back of the house that I'll walk through took place. It was also modified in 2003. That is where the addition on the front right side came into play. And then sometime, I believe 2015, the rear dormer in the back was added on. So if you would like, I can share screen so I can have the mouse control and kind of just walk through what is existing and proposed.
Give me 1 second, Tim, and I will give you permission to go ahead and share. Just 1 second.
Okay.
Mm. Okay, Tim, you should be able to go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. Let's. Oh, and I do see it now. Okay. Can everybody see the screen here? Is my mouse moving around?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, great. So these are the submission plans. Just to make it a little easier to show on the screen here, I have the proposed on the right, and on the left is the existing conditions of the structure now. So the original structure, circa 1948, is really this kind of main body of what I would call kind of a colonial in the center here. This on the right, where my mouse is currently hovering, and in front here is that kind of 2003 edition where the building was brought out closer to Long Beach Road. And in the back on the left here, this kind of iteration is where we think came from the 1990s, where the whole building was lifted and put onto a new foundation. And the work being proposed is this front covered porch, where you can see that this rake and this front gable is to kind of extend down to create this new covered porch here. Looking at our side elevation right here, that is the existing, and to the right, you can see is now this covered porch with this new side mudroom door over here. In the back, and I'll flop to the back elevations 1 second, but from the front view to the right, here is this existing roof here that we are not changing the footprint of the structure, but this roof is to be removed. And this is where that additional space in that closet in that bedroom is coming into play. It's on this back side over here. You can also see that visibly right here is that existing, and here is the proposed. I'm just going to flop back around to the rear and the other side elevations now. So this is the existing back of the structure. Like I said, this is all kind of 1990s era right here, sprawling off of the main kind of original body. And on the back of the structure, this shed dormer in the rear was also ripped off and removed and replaced around 2015. So this is all kind of non-original hodgepodge and added on to. And what is being proposed here. Here is the new propose of extending that out with that shed dormer here. New windows and door layout on the south, as well as new windows and doors in the front living room. And going over to the other elevation here, you can see this is the existing, where it's just that 1-story roof off the back. And then here is where that 2nd story is coming into play. By way of kind of other regulatory things going on, this is in a flood zone, and luckily it already had that kind of new foundation. So, a poured, cast in place foundation. So it's a great structure to be able to build on, and we are able to save the existing structure without having to raise everything and then inevitably kind of replace. It is right adjacent. It's probably the back is maybe only 15 or 20 feet from the edge of the Centerville River. So we've already gone through the conservation process and received a RDA for this work. Luckily, like I said, it's staying within that same footprint of the structure that's already there. So that was a big help. And it is also in the District of Critical Planning Concern for the Centerville-Craigville area, which that section of the zoning bylaw has a lot of regulations on additions and alterations to the existing structure having to do with the roof lines and the building heights. And this has since been reviewed by the building department in regards to those regulations, and the new proposed work in this roof in the back and everything is in compliance with that. So we are here tonight to present this as it relates to the historic and, that original 1948 structure.
Thank you, Tim. That's great. I just want to say, I appreciate your detailed presentation on it. It helps to understand the building, its evolution, and what we're really dealing with. I don't personally believe there is either a tremendous historical or architectural significance embodied in this 1948 structure. It's technically here because it's over 75 years of age, and it's our policy to review these. I may be missing something, and that's one of the reasons we have these hearings, is to allow other commissioners and members of the public to comment if there's something that we might be missing. But if I could just offer one last personal opinion, and I want to open it up to conversation for the other commissioners, is I kind of think aesthetically and architecturally, what I'm seeing is even an improvement over what there is in terms of how it looks. So I'm comfortable with it. Commissioners, any questions or comments or thoughts about this?
No.
No, I don't see any hands up for that, and that's all right. I said to Tim before the hearing began, I had gone out today to try and look at the house, and I knew it was going to be a long shot. And you mostly can only see it from the Centerville River if you're in a boat, or being a neighbor across the river on the north side of the river looking across to the south. Or he mentioned there's one little narrow notch between a couple of properties up on South Main Street or what have you, where you can look between the buildings and across the river and see it. It is technically publicly viewable from a public way or two, and that qualifies as one of the ways we like to think about things as a historical commission. But again, I don't have any major concerns. Were there any comments from the public, Erica? I don't believe we had anything on this.
This is Erica Brown. There were no letters submitted, and I do not see anyone wishing to speak to this item at this time.
Okay, well, thank you very much. If commissioners, you don't have any comments or any reason for me to hold up here, I think I would ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, Nancy Shoemaker.
Thank you, Nancy. And a second?
I'll second it, Jack.
Thank you, Jack. And Mr. Clerk, would you please poll the members to close the public hearing?
Certainly. Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Cheryl Powell,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.
Great. The hearing is closed. We need to read the motions for this. Do I have a volunteer for motion reading today?
I can do it.
Oh, thank you, John. Appreciate that.
All right. All right, so Packard Daniel, 212 Long Beach Road, Centerville, map 206, parcel 002, built 1948, partial demolition, add change front porch, add small addition above kitchen, which was formerly a roof. Motion 1. I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building 212 Long Beach Road, Centerville is a preferably preserved significant building.
And is there
I'll
a second,
second
please?
that.
Nancy
Thank you,
I'll
Shoemaker.
Nancy.
second it.
Well, we got one. Good for you. An aye vote will impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. Mr. Clerk?
Okay, ready? Okay, so Andrew Fisher,
Nay.
Barbara DiBiase,
Nay.
Nancy Shoemaker,
Nay.
Cheryl Powell,
Nay.
Jack Kay,
Nay.
Bob Frazee,
Nay.
John Richmond, nay.
All righty.
All right, so-
Second motion.
Okay, so I move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the single-family dwelling located 212 Long Beach Road, Centerville is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
And a
I'll
second,
second
please?
that. Nancy
Thank
I'll
you,
Shoemaker.
Nancy.
second.
Got it. An aye vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family dwelling is not detrimental and no demolition delay will be imposed. Mr. Clerk?
Okay, Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
John Richmond, aye. Cheryl Powell,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Robert Frazee.
Aye. Very good. Mr. O'Neill, thank you very much, sir.
Great, thank you. I always forget that you guys have the no vote and the yes vote. That's your regular motion. So good job
It
keeping
gets a
track of
little
all that.
confusing at times. Trust me, even I and all of us sometimes flub a little with that. Some of it's kind of counterintuitive too, by the way. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone. Have
much,
a good
sir.
night.
You too. All righty, next up. Christine Bourgeois and Elizabeth Foley, 12 Wally Court, Hyannis map, 324, parcel 021, built 1948. Partial demolition, remove garage rafters, roof only, and add new second floor family room, remove first floor interior wall between garage and existing living room. Could I please have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second Nancy Shoemaker.
Thank you, Nancy. Mr. Clerk, would you please poll the members for opening the public hearing?
Certainly. Andrew Fisher.
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase.
Aye.
Nancy Shoemaker.
Aye.
Cheryl Powell.
Aye.
Jack Kay.
Aye.
Bob Frazee.
Aye.
And John Richmond. Aye.
Very good. We're in a public hearing. We have someone here who is to present this particular project. I hope. Maybe we
This is
don't.
Erica Brown. I do not see a representative on for this application. Why don't we have a motion to move this application to the end of the meeting and we can come back just in case they hop on late?
Sure, I'm fine with that. Could we have such a motion, please?
I make that motion that we put it to because we can just move it around, move it towards the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Cheryl. A second, please.
Seconded.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Mr. Clerk, sir, would you please poll the members to make sure that that works?
Certainly. Andrew Fisher.
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase.
Aye.
Nancy Shoemaker.
Aye.
Cheryl Powell.
Aye.
Jack Kay.
Aye.
Bob Frazee.
Aye.
And John Richmond. Aye.
Excellent. The motion carries. Thank you. That's an excellent solution. And just as a matter of procedure, are we able to hold the hearing without the applicant if that came to be the case later on?
Yes,
I would-
you can. You can either say that you have enough information contained within the application to make a determination based upon the commission discussion, or you can continue the item to the next meeting, in which you can request them to be there at the next
Thank you.
meeting. if they're
So
not
we
here
could
today.
continue it of our own volition. We wouldn't have to have the request from the absent applicant in order to do it, right? Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. That's a great answer. I appreciate it. All righty. In that case, next up is WS Sagittarius LLC, 145 Sepuit River Road, number A, Osterville, map 070, parcel 012/001, built 1923. Partial demolition, add small addition with second floor gambrel design, improve the front entry overhang with some columns and a gable roof. And the front elevation would be improved with historic shutters and window boxes. And could I ask for a motion to open the public hearing for this?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Thank you. In a second.
Seconded.
Thank you, Andrew. Mr. Clerk, sir, please poll the
Roll.
members.
Andrew Fisher.
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase.
Aye.
Nancy Shoemaker.
Aye.
Cheryl Powell.
Aye.
Jack Kay.
Aye.
Bob Frazee.
Aye.
And John Richmond. Aye.
All righty. Thank you very much. Do we have someone here to present this one?
Yes, Marshall Works of K Marshall Works Design. Is everybody able to hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Hi.
Yes.
All right,
Greetings.
perfect. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I'm representing my clients, Miss Natalie Edmonds and her husband, John Silver. And very excitingly, they recently had, I think it might be their 6th grandchild, and they're kind of running out of space in their cottage here to house a little one. So we're proposing a nursery, which will take place on the 2nd floor of the existing house or existing cottage, which you're looking at right now. For me, this was a good opportunity to kind of fuse 2 buildings together that didn't have a lot of pronunciation architecturally, I think. And we were able to utilize that picture that we're looking at right now by removing the railing system on the 2nd floor and building a structure on top of the existing footprint. And it's not a large amount of room, but architecturally, I think it's really going to bring this cottage together, and speak very nicely from the street and the approach, and give them the additional room that they're looking for the little one. So not too much going on with the addition, just a modest gambrel that we're proposing to include, what you see in front of you, and adding some decorative window boxes, appropriate shutters, and create a little overhang in front of the main entry door, which you see as well.
Right. My impression is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that this dwelling is not as visible from the Sepuit River as many in its vicinity are. It's set back from the waterfront a little bit more than many, and it's not cleared in front the way most of them are, particularly one of its more recent abutters. But is that right?
Yes, you're exactly correct. You
Okay.
can see a very modest amount of it from Sepuit River on the approach, but most of it is heavily vegetated. And on the water side, it is definitely set back compared to others, like you said, as well, as you can see from
Yeah, I
that
mean,
area.
this illustration shows that perfectly. That's right.
Yeah,
And I did not go charging out onto Sepuit River Road and challenge the guards at the gate today to go see the house or anything like that. But again, I don't believe the building is particularly visible from the road either. And
correct.
so our issue of visibility from a public way is somewhat moderated compared to some properties that we review. Could you share with us your impression of just using this view that's on the screen now, the kind of date ranges of some of the principal elements of the building as it is today?
Sure. So down below the addition, the second floor addition that we're proposing, it was exterior space at one point. More recently, I would say 2 years ago, we transformed that space into finished to enlarge a smaller kitchen that was in there. And we also did a modest extension off the back, which was a screen porch that you'll see on the rear elevation. Yes, on the rear elevation there. Yep, so that
Okay.
screen porch was added in. And the dates are ranging from what I've seen, it might even be earlier, the 1920s, the 80s, more recently, 2022, 23. So it's had quite a bit of work done to it over the years. And as I said, I'm fortunate enough to be able to come in, and they were looking to add this nursery. And I think that it's, from a front elevation perspective, it's really going to tie these two structures in together nicely.
No, I tend to agree with that. The reason I asked you the question, and it wasn't a trick one, was that you're here and we're reviewing this because of the early age of some of the components of it. And yet I
Right.
would be hard pressed to find them architecturally or to say that, aha, that's it. And I think that simply is testimony to the number of alterations and additions that have been brought to it over its lifetime. And I will say for this, what I said for the previous one, my personal impression is that there is not a major architectural or historical significance attached to what we could identify as the early building in the process of what you're altering. But I'm open to other opinions from my fellow commissioners or anyone else involved. And saying that, is there a member of the commission or anyone who would like to ask a question or with a comment on
Actually,
this?
Nancy Shoemaker.
Sure.
I'm basically asking this question to Jack Kay. Is it necessary for this new addition to have the roof a bit higher than the previously highest, yes, right there, roof? Does that bother you or not? I mean, you're the expert, Jack.
I don't think that this house falls under the DCPC. I
No,
don't,
this,
I don't
th-
think that it has that requirement where you can't supersede the height of the building. I think the height now goes to the building department's 30 feet, something like that. So I don't see that they have the restriction that the DCPC says where you have to maintain the highest portion of the house and not any higher.
Mhm.
I think you're right. And I would add our other concern sometimes with a historic building is from an architectural perspective or an aesthetic perspective, is the addition going to dominate the historic body of work that is pre-existing? And, sometimes it is offered that it will, or that it should, or that it might, as it is in this case. And I find it rather pleasing to the eye to see that happening in this instance because it gives the building a focus it did not otherwise have. It kind of breaks up the otherwise very horizontal lines that, I'm not going to use the word boring, but were plain compared to this. But again, this is very subjective, and I'm not trying to lead anybody down any garden paths. But I mean, Nancy's question is a good one, and normally we would look at not subordinating the parent structure, if it were, as a thing we would seek out. But I don't personally have an objection to that here. And I think Jack's right in terms of DCPC versus building commissioner's jurisdiction for building height. I think it's the latter in this case. This is in Oyster Harbors, and it's not in a DCPC that I'm aware of. So anybody else? Any other thoughts? I don't believe we had any public comment on this, Erica, did we? Or members of the public here to comment, do we?
Eric, this is Erica Brown. I do not see anyone wishing to comment on this item at this time.
Okay. Anyone else have anything further they would like to see discussed or talked about here? Because if not, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second it, Jack.
Thank you very much, Jack. If Mr. Clerk, you would please poll the members to see if we can close the hearing, that would be great.
All right, Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Cheryl Powell,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.
All righty. And then we go straight to the reading of the motions. Mr. Clerk, are you still game?
Yes, still good. All printed out and ready this time.
Yeah, you're doing fine. Thank you.
All right. So
Appreciate it.
WS Sagittarius LLC, 145 Sepuit River Road, number A, Osterville, map 070, parcel 012/001, built 1923. Partial demolition, add small addition with second floor gambrel design, improve the front entry overhang with some columns and a gable roof, and the front elevation would be improved with historic shutters and window boxes. Motion 1. I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building, 145 Sepuit River Road, number A, Osterville, is a preferably preserved significant building.
And could I have a second, please?
I'll
Seconded.
second that.
Thank you very much.
All
And
right,
I vote.
thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I appreciate it.
Oh, we're still voting. Don't disappear yet.
Oh.
That's okay. I mean, I'm not nervous for you, but don't run off yet. An
Sorry
aye
about
vote
that.
of this motion will support an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. And we now do need a roll call vote for the motion.
Okay, Andrew Fisher,
Nay.
Barbara DiBiase,
Nay.
Nancy Shoemaker,
Nay.
Cheryl Powell,
Nay.
Jack Kay,
Nay.
Bob Frazee,
Nay.
and John Richmond, nay.
All righty, we move to motion 2.
All right. I move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the single-family dwelling located at 145 Sepuit River Road, number A, Osterville, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
And a second on that, please.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Cheryl. An aye vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family dwelling is not detrimental. No demolition delay imposed. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Cheryl Powell,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.
Very good. Now you can scurry off to your next event.
All right.
And thank you
so
very
much,
much.
everyone, for your time. I
Are you the
appreciate it.
gentleman who filled out the original notice of intent for this?
Yes. Yep.
I congratulate you on your excellent penmanship.
Oh, thank you. I
Are you a
appreciate it.
lefty?
No, I'm actually a righty, but I angle it to the left
That's
for some
okay. I have
reason.
a brother
Yeah.
who's a lefty, is why I wondered. But you could not read his. Yours you could read. Thank you so much.
Appreciated. Thanks,
All
everyone.
right. All righty. I don't believe we have anybody in the room newly arrived for our other hearing as yet. So with that being the case, I'd like to keep moving on the agenda if I may. And I'm going to, just for the sake of time, I'm going to skip for the moment the discussion of upcoming historical events open to the public because I think the other things are a little more pressing. Just as a follow-up on 94 Stevens Street, after our January 27th hearing, Nancy Shoemaker and I were able to get into the building in quite short order. I think it was within a day or two. And thanks to Starbuck and family, we were able to make quite a few additional photos specific to elements that we felt 90% sure, it's hard to say for certain without dismantling things, were very likely part of the original church. And we made individual PowerPoint pages one at a time for each of the items, numbering the items, labeling them with green tape on them with a number on them so there won't be any confusion, and producing a PowerPoint that has a page per item so that eventually it can be part of a way that we will actually provide a catalog of what we have achieved in setting things aside, so that if we're looking for someone interested in some of these remnants, they can see a picture, they can know what it is. And I'm hopeful that since Roberto at Starbuck was furnished a copy of this PowerPoint as well, that when they take these units out of the building, they can measure them and make any notes that they feel are relevant directly on a printout of the PowerPoint. And then Nancy or I or Erica can update the PowerPoint catalog, so to speak, accordingly, and we'll have complete information that way. So that once things are all packed off into a pod or a trailer, as is the plan, informationally, a lot will still be available for people to shop from, if that's the right word to use, or for us to collectively try to market the various components that we noted and that will be set aside. I went by a couple of days ago. I did not get by today. At that point, though, they had not yet, that I could see, begun taking things out of the openings, which is really what we're talking about here. But so I know they're kind of working on their own timeline, and that's the bottom line. This last image shows a couple of elements that might be as old as the building, but in the case particularly of the lower right window, which is a swing out casement, it's jammed right up tight against a more modern than that window and that building winding staircase that goes up to the modern attic. And it would be extremely difficult to take it out. It's also been difficult to maintain it. It's in very poor condition. So I did not list it as a separate artifact. And I felt the same was largely true of the triple windows, mullioned windows up in the attic. But we have, I think it was 15 or 16 items, and that felt like a pretty good score considering. I mean, I think all of us would rather this had gone a little differently and that we'd understood what we were dealing with a little more completely at an earlier date, probably for the applicant's sake and also for ours. I'm not sure that the outcome would have been different. And, I'm open to anyone else's opinion on that. But where Jack and I evaluated and analyzed the building as closely as we did, and we discussed that at the last hearing, I won't go back into it now. It did not seem to either of us that in this modern day and age, with the traffic congestion, narrower roads, and what have you, that it would be feasible to move a building like this without destroying it basically into such small fragments as to make it, the idea of preserving it, sort of a non-starter. It wouldn't really be preserved by that. And I know some people are disappointed about it, and I'm sorry. What I would say we learned from this episode, at the very least, is that when we're dealing with a building that may be demolished and we wish to make recommendations or seek alternatives to its demolition, we should more proactively step in and have a look. And as long as we have the expertise within our commission to do it, we should do it that way. And it worked this time, albeit belatedly. If we did not feel fortunate enough to have people who could, either for sake of the time involved or their expertise, capable of doing this, then I think it would be worthwhile seeing if someone from the town or someone could actually be hired to do it, who would be qualified, or someone willing from a nonprofit organization who has a qualified individual. And there are such individuals available through Protect Our Past in Chatham and other entities. So I'm going to let anybody speak on this who wants to, but that's my primary takeaway on this at this point. Anyone have any thoughts they want to share? We can keep moving or whatever you like. I'm not seeing any hands in the air. Nancy, yeah, sure.
I
Yeah.
just hope that obviously they will, but keep the photos that I had taken back 3 or 4 weeks earlier to see the full length and major differences between those pictures, and just showing how there was a little more of something to admire back then. So I just
Well,
hope.
and yet the pulling apart of the interior plaster work and what have you is what revealed to us the truth of what we
Yeah.
were dealing with, which was really
That's
important.
true.
And thank you. Your comment reminded me that you and I have still a chore ahead of us, which is to collate and make sense of the photos that you took and I took previously to photo document the building before its destruction. And we have taken those pictures. We did all that at the same time that we were there, documenting the architectural elements. And my approach to that, if people are agreeable, is to try and do a similar presentation with a PowerPoint, just to have a catalog of what we think the takeaway is from what we saw. And it would resemble a little bit in that manner some of the pictures that we had on the screen at the meeting on the 27th, but there would be more of them. And we'd probably put a few on each PowerPoint and then just keep a brief takeaway on how it illustrated to us and documented for posterity the fact that this was the 1902 church. And I think I'm going to say even beyond all probability, I'm quite confident that it was. Okay. And if anyone has either now or in follow-up, any other suggestions of how better to document it or do that, I'm certainly open and willing. I don't believe we have time or resources to have someone actually measure the building and that kind of thing. And it is not an architectural national landmark or something that we're about to lose, which might justify that expensive time and effort. But that's about the only thing we're not doing in trying to document it, is my opinion of it. Are we good? Can I keep going? Okay. Thank you very much. We have been approached by a gentleman who works for the Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the United States Senate, seeking support for their request as a nonprofit organization for governmental funding support through both the federal government and also the state government. And it takes two different forms. One is on the federal side in the category of federal earmarks, which associate with their fiscal budget for 2027. And in the case of Massachusetts, it's a grant for the Massachusetts MPPF, Massachusetts Preservation Projects Fund. Thank you very much. Sometimes I forget the acronyms meanings. And so the letters that I have drafted as tentative drafts, at least for support, should you agree with me that it's worth doing, and I do believe it is, are addressed accordingly to the individuals who are either senators or representatives in Congress, and to Secretary of State Galvin for the person who would be in charge of receiving letters for the MPPF application. And I don't know if you've had a chance to go through any of the ingredients that were forwarded to us by Liam King, who's the development associate for the EMK Institute. But to me, they suggest they've been pretty careful about having a full survey done of the Joseph Kennedy building, which was always called the Cape House by the family and is referred to in that manner by many of the documents supporting its National Register listing and its national landmark status. Um, I think that they've done a good job with that. It's the early stage of the project. We didn't get plans and drawings and things like that. But in order to support their request for funds, it wasn't my feeling we would need that level of detail because I know that either National Park Service at the congressional end or Massachusetts Historical Commission at the state end are going to ask all those questions and look for those details of each of their applicants and no exception here. So I think it looks to me like a thing we should do. I don't personally believe we have a building in Barnstable, certainly not in the town, but probably not even in the county that is historically more significant in the historically significant manner of consideration than the Joseph Kennedy home um, in the compound. And it would seem to me like a real missed opportunity if we didn't chime in with our idea of supporting their request for funds. But I'm open to your conversation. Anybody?
Yes, I have some comments on it.
Sure.
On researching it, I have two different views on it.
Mhm.
It depends how it's used, but going online, not just by what we were sent, it's intended to be a bipartisan retreat for members of Congress. Um, it is a private venture. It's 6 acres, the compound itself. Um, it's supposed to serve as a Camp David for Congress. Um, the The 336 acres of the nearby Redgate Farm, another Kennedy property, were protected for public use, now known as the Squanopic Pond Reservation. Um, it is a private trust. So I don't know. Um,
A private trust as opposed to a nonprofit, public nonprofit, you mean, is that the
yeah, yeah,
differentiation you're making?
yeah.
I didn't notice that or didn't know that.
Yeah, I researched the what it actually is, and that's what's online. And it may be split, I don't know, but doesn't say. But it is private, which means does it really benefit the people, the public in Barnstable? I mean, obviously it's a landmark for
Mhm.
undebatable reasons, but I question that, are we proposing to support a private venture that the people who live here aren't going to benefit from? It's my question.
It's a fair question. I didn't think of phrasing it quite that way when I asked myself a comparable question reading this like a week
Mhm.
ago when this first came up, but almost like that. I was thinking, well, one opinion of this might be, what on earth is everybody doing providing public money to support what's always been a private residence and maybe used for a small number of individuals, at least at a time.
Mhm.
And my response to myself was after looking at the Institute's website and reading some of their work and what have you, is that it seems to me that this is the best way to actively preserve the building. And it makes me worried about what may happen to the others in the compound, actually. But this one is the focus of this particular endeavor. Using a building and making it publicly meaningful to new generations, particularly as some of the enthusiasm for what my children refer to as your president start to fade. It's a generational reality that in order to retain modern day significance for something like this, we need to make it relevant to new people. And my gut feel was that this was an approach to being able to do that, as well as to support meaningful education around the subject of the U.S. Senate. And that's part of how it memorializes Senator Kennedy's um, history with it.
Can I read you what it has online from the origins of this?
Sure.
It's dated January 30th, 2012. It's titled Kennedy Compound on Cape Cod donated for charitable use. The main house at Kennedy's family home, it's about 3 paragraphs, waterfront compound in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, has been donated for use as an education center aimed at teaching leadership and inspiring public service, the institute receiving the donation said last Monday. The Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the U.S. Senate said that the house where the Kennedy family retreated from the public glare for decades was donated at the request of the late Senator M. Kennedy and his widow Victoria. The donation fulfilled a promise Senator Kennedy made to his mother Rose that the family home, the largest of several structures of the compound, be preserved and used for charitable purposes, the Institute said. A team of National Historic Preservation experts led by the presidential historian Michael Beschlis will be assembled to guide the programming and operation of the home, the statement said. The Institute hopes to use the home for education, to educate the public about the U.S. government and inspire citizens to get involved in public service. The house at 50 Marchant Street was purchased by Jesse Montgomery. It goes into 1928 and all that. Visiting dignitaries. So it was meant to be used for charitable purposes, not as a fun retreat place for congressmen. That's just,
I'm not sure the two
is that
things are,
really being used for charity?
well, I'm not sure the two things are mutually exclusive. I don't know,
No,
I
they're
don't know
not.
which, and I don't know which thing carries more weight either
Yeah.
in the valuing of how it works. I still fall back on if they don't find a good way to use it that is compatible with its history and to a certain degree, even with its neighborhood setting, because this will be controlled. This is not
Yeah.
like tours for the public where buses are going to come up and go in that I'm aware of, at least. I never see anything indicating that, which would be worrisome, I think, for the Hyannisport neighborhood. I mean, they've dealt with that since 1960 to a certain extent. I mean, they just plain have. Maybe that has subsided a little bit, and I don't see this as getting into that again. You've raised a good question, Cheryl. I don't have a firm answer. I just had my own sense that this looks like an opportunity to help whoever is in the ownership role with that property to support its further continuing its historical integrity, its architectural integrity, and its use as an educational tool. And I don't know if it were a mini retreat like a Camp David. I'm not sure I think that's a terrible use either. I mean, that will be public servants using it as a retreat from their public jobs. I don't think they need subsidizing. I'm not saying that, but I don't want to get into the politics of that, obviously. You're on mute. I'm sorry. You're muted. There you go.
I think, sorry about that. I did mute because I had a phone call, so I went to block that. It's not really that would not be so much for charitable. I do believe it needs to be preserved, but is it going to be preserved just so that congressmen and their families can come and have a vacation home on the water, and also be maintained for our taxpayers? And would that taxpayers go up federally, or would they go up in Barnstable? I don't think I know enough about it yet.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I don't know the answers specifically to your very specific questions. My impression is, and it's just a personal impression, really, is that there will be much more use of it than simply a vacation house for people from Congress, or the Senate for that matter. I thought of it as a teaching tool where people who are studying the congressional process, maybe people from the Kennedy School of Government, such as that, and it'd be a synergistic relationship. This is in my head. My theory is that they would be sending people down to experience the place and understand more what it was like for the family who had such an impact on American politics through much of the 20th century to, pick it up firsthand. I think that's what I'm hoping it's about.
Oh, I understand. I have to
Don't
go because I have to chair another meeting in
Yeah, I
40
know you
minutes.
have to
I have to get
disappear
down to
soon.
town hall. My parting thoughts are I'd like to know more about it. How is it
Okay.
going to be funded? What is it actually going to be used for? Because the bit that I just read was not in the application.
Mhm.
So how is it intended to be used, and how is it intended to be funded? In other words, I don't want to, my personal opinion is I wouldn't want to shoot ourselves in the foot. But,
Sure.
and it may be perfectly fine and beautiful and lovely, but I'd
Mhm.
just like to know more. My
Okay.
apologies to everybody, but I have a 15-minute drive and I have to go
Oh,
pack my briefcase.
that's fine. Thank you for your comments,
Everyone
Sarah.
have a great evening.
We'll totally
Yes.
take them into account, and I'm sure other people may have some opinions on this too. We'll get
Yeah.
there.
I'd just
Thank
like
you
to
very
know more
much.
about it. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cheers. Commissioners, other thoughts or response to that, to any degree you wish or feel, I'm fine with that. We need to reach a decision today about whether to support in letter form the initiatives as outlined, just because there are deadlines that they have to meet. And I believe originally February 6th was the original deadline in the request. And knowing that we were going to bring this to the commission meeting today, that was extended somewhat. I'm not sure if that was an administrative headline or deadline that was internal, or if it was in fact, one for the Senate and the House and MPPF. But anyone?
I do wish we had, I feel very much like Cheryl. I wish we'd had more time to look at it, since there are obviously some things that have either changed over time or just were not mentioned. So, but why do we have to give a definite answer of something today? It's something that's minor, right? I mean, not minor. It's not saying this project should happen. It's saying to continue thinking about it, or what are we
Um,
asked to do?
We are asked to write letters of support for the applications to the Senate and the House of Representatives and to Mass Historical Commission through Secretary of State Galvin for funding of what is an initial one is essentially a planning document, therefore fulfilling some of the planning elements that will sustain the building that were itemized in one of the schedules that was put up in the Laserfiche, that are identified, such as replacing an AC system, drying out the basement theater, which was a home movie theater built by Joe Kennedy, who was very involved in early filmmaking, and it was actually one of the first in the nation home movie studios. There are elements to the building that it will look at specifically, and they're enumerated in that information packet. We're just asked to offer a letter of support. I don't know. I was thinking it would be easy. Maybe it's not, and that's fair. Barbara, Jack, anybody else?
I guess I'm wondering if if it's in our domain to even consider something like that.
Yes. I mean, in my opinion, it is. For example, one of the ideas I had was that they have not proceeded on is if they are a charitable nonprofit organization, and I had presumed that they are, one thing they could do would be to approach the town of Barnstable for some matching funds as well, because they would qualify as certainly a National Historic Landmark. Generally, challenges to that approach come from MHC to qualify a building or what is proposed for it. They're actually going to MHC in the first place to get specific funding. Therefore, I think that moots our concerns to some degree in that respect. And on the federal level, it's like going for a national grant. And I don't think it's out of line for a local historical commission that has jurisdiction over the buildings, for instance, if they were going to propose a partial or a full demolition or a move of one of these, they would be before us. I mean, it is within our jurisdiction. It's not in a separate local historic district. So I don't know. It seemed like a legit request to me. Jack, what do you think? I'm curious. And Andrew, I'll ask you in a sec too, and John as well. Jack, you're muted. I'm sorry. Whoop, there you go.
Still muted.
And Jack, you're still muted. Not yet. Jack, you work on that. John, what do you think?
Well, honestly, Bob, I'm kind of with Cheryl.
Okay.
And I wonder whether they even need our letter.
I don't know. I thought it would look a little odd if they didn't get a letter from the local historical commission whose jurisdiction the building lies in, but that was just my own first
can we
impression.
say that we support it with the hope that there will be more public use other than as a retreat for,
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say too that, just that it should be, we think it's a great idea and we're looking forward to getting more details. That should be added to our letter, I think.
I agree.
We can do that. And I'm sure that the individual who put out the request would be happy to be more forthcoming. I don't know whether his timeline to submit these things to the various entities where they need to go will permit us to have another meeting about it and talk about it, but it's fair. I mean, it's okay. Jack, you're audible.
Yeah, I am. I kind of like the idea of staying in the game a little bit, and
Mhm.
and I think the letter is a starting point, and maybe we could focus on it a little bit deeper with a little more information.
Okay.
Who's going to write the initial letter? Or
Well,
should we?
I've drafted a couple of letters
Okay.
already that are in the Laserfiche for you guys to have looked at before the meeting.
Sorry.
Not digging it in, but I mean, I spent a lot of time trying to do them. I kept
Yeah.
them simple and to the point. And since maybe you didn't see them, let me read one as a sample because they basically all say the same thing. I'll do the one for uh, Secretary of State Galvin. Dear Secretary Galvin, please accept this letter of support for the Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the United States Senate's application to the Massachusetts Historical Commission's Massachusetts Preservation Projects Fund. The Institute owns and maintains the Joseph P. Kennedy House in Hyannisport, commonly known as the Cape House, which is the principal of 3 homes within the Kennedy compound, designated a National Historic Landmark. There is perhaps no more historically significant building in the town of Barnstable, and the importance of preserving its integrity, including landscape and recreational elements, cannot be overstated, particularly as the Institute prepares to provide opportunities for public access and engagement at this location for the very first time. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration. Sign off. So, I mean, it's picking up on the stated public access, and in the request for support, it talked about, let me out here, I thought opening it up to the public. Did it mention for tours? I think in a limited way for tours. It did not speak of it in the terms of a retreat for like a Camp David kind of miniature retreat. I was completely unaware of anything like that. That's not mentioned in any of the documentation that we were provided with. So I don't want to take up any more time with this. Particularly, we should sort of either have a vote or decide what we want to do. And
Could we have a vote of a letter that will be that will receive some suggestions by everyone here if they are so inclined to do so? I mean, this isn't really like it has to be done today or we've missed a deadline, is it?
well, that was my impression. Yes,
Oh,
that's why I had prepared it for today. I
so-
don't know that it's absolute. I'm not in a position to say it's absolute. I
Yeah.
might find that if we, go back to Liam King and say, I'm sorry, we didn't have a full consensus on the subject at this meeting because people had questions. Can we buy some time till our next meeting and see if we have an opportunity to put together a letter? I mean, he may say yes, or he may say, I'm sorry, I don't have time, but
No, we can be very positive about it. We're in favor of this, but Cheryl brought up things like with the town of Barnstable, since they wouldn't be able to go into the building, but they would still have to do some of the financing of the project. So, I mean, that's what she was.
how would the people of Barnstable be doing the financing?
I don't know. Am I right, guys? Wasn't she was suggesting?
I think she was just concerned that taxpayers were supporting it because it would be
Yeah.
public money. I don't think she was saying that
Oh,
the town
okay.
of Barnstable specifically is, on the, help me out here. Anybody else have any thought on, that's not my recollection of what was said.
Wow.
I do think she meant the taxpayers in general. I don't think she,
Yeah, thank you, John.
Yeah.
That was very much my impression too.
And then add maybe something to it. We're we're looking forward to the open door of us being able to have some direction, suggestions from the Barnstable Historical Commission to this. It wouldn't hurt.
Okay, we could try. It's going to be a pretty high grade national level preservation project, and I'm not sure that we are equipped to make that kind of commentary.
I'm not saying they
even
come to us
saying
for
I have a
anything.
I have a degree in this stuff, and I'm not sure
Yeah.
I would feel comfortable making those kinds of comments, but
Keeping us in the know of what's going on, we would appreciate that if possible.
of course, sure. Well, that's fair. Um, so why don't we, I don't feel we need to vote on this. I don't think we can really. I don't think we have anything to vote on. I think we'll, if we agree, just give a pass to writing these letters for now. I can be in touch with Liam or Erica. You can. I don't. We can discuss which way to do this and give him some general feedback from this. He can watch this hearing, which is another way to suggest to him that he understand a little better some of the questions or hesitancies that were expressed,
Mhm.
and he could clarify those. And if he feels his timeline permits another look at this by us as a commission, all to the good, and we can do that. And my hunch is if these projects do, pardon me, get underway, there will probably be some other opportunities where we could express support for them in ways that would be somewhat meaningful. I certainly that wouldn't hurt. So, okay.
It's
Do
an
we have
honor
any-
for the town, so that's good,
Yeah. I'm sorry, Jack. Yes.
Do we have any other information from the town of Barnstable as to whether they would appreciate that we have a comment? Or I'm wondering, when you say that it's going to be expensive, uh, I don't know that we can commit the town to expense.
No, no, not at all. And we're not. We're not committing the town to anything in this. The only thing we're committing the town to is that the town's historical commission thinks that the preservation initiatives by the Institute, as expressed through their applications for funding at the federal and the state level, are worthy efforts. That's really the bottom line I see of what we're being asked to support.
Well,
And
if that's where it is, I agree with that altogether.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's my
I
understanding
support
of it.
that.
Yeah, well, thank you. But I don't really have specific answers for Cheryl's questions that she raised. I didn't go on the web and, thrash it out, and she did, and good for her. I don't know, some of the things she picked up on were dated. I think she mentioned one thing she read was from 2012. That's a while ago. And I didn't see anything that she mentioned from those earlier articles included in any of the documentation that were furnished by the Institute for this comment. But let's move on and leave this as we can't really decide on this today. I'll encourage Liam to watch the hearing. He'll understand our questions. He can talk to the commission through me between times, and if he allows that there is time to still submit a letter, we can have another meeting about it, and we can put stuff in our correspondence from the office to all of you as commissioners leading up to the next meeting so that everybody understands what we might be able to do. Okay? Right.
I'm sorry, Bob, one other question on that.
Yes, John, sure.
And that is, just as we had a special meeting for 94 Stevens Street,
Mhm.
if there is a short timeline on this, do you think it might be possible to accommodate them in that way? You know what I'm trying to say there?
I don't know if there's the same level. It's a good question, John. I don't know if there's the same level of urgency as there was with a continued hearing for a construction or destruction project. Erica, do you have a sense of that? I don't think we
This is
have our
Erica
official.
Brown. I, based upon what you said, Bob, I would think along the same lines as you. Whereas this is just a request for a letter of support, and not an application that has a determinable deadline that
Hmm.
that we have control over. I don't think that it would warrant a special meeting.
Yeah, I don't quite feel it meets the same standard, although I don't have a written standard it has to meet. It just doesn't feel to me like it's quite the same thing. Although, if we were going to want to try and do it, it would be nice to get it done in a meaningful time frame. But anyway, thank you for the question. We'll see if well, we're going to have to wait for some feedback from Mr. King on this and find out what happens next. All righty. Well, thank you guys, all of you, for your comments, and in absentia now to Cheryl for hers as well. The next thing on the agenda here is Centerville Village South Phase Sewer Project Design, Main Street, Centerville, National Register District. We were sent a communication on this topic, and Michael, are you here to present on that, or?
Either myself or Nick Cleany with the DPW.
Okay, no, that's great. I wasn't aware, but that's wonderful. I
Yep.
just could quickly say myself that reading it, it reminded me very much of similar correspondence we received when one of the wind farm developers was planning to bring ashore cable and conduit, and it might have been a go-together opportunity with the town of Barnstable to do everything at once, which I think that ship has sailed at least for a while. To do it at once, ship has probably sailed, and you can confirm that or not. At that time, we as a commission, and it was before I was chair, I might even just have barely been an alternate at that point, communicated concern for non-disturbance of the historic resources, and were assured through MHC and the developer that would be monitored closely. There'd be an expert on hand doing such things. And I feel pretty personally comfortable that approach would be appropriate in this case as well. And if we as a commission were to communicate something back to you, the town, on this, it would be along the lines of that, just reiterating it, and adding perhaps please show concern or care for historic resources and assets that are outside the actual perimeter of the district, but are along the same corridor that your sewer line will travel, which is no new news for the department because you've done it elsewhere before, but I would be remiss if I didn't just kind of say it out loud for the record. Okay, what did you guys have for us?
Yep, I agree with everything. That totally makes sense. Yeah, so I wouldn't
you.
link them together with the duct bank project though. So essentially, this is the next phase of the all important, comprehensive wastewater management plan by the DPW. The sewer, the areas. This one got moved up in priority because the duct bank was coming through, and we didn't want the sewer contractor to have to dig around this huge duct. So we're just trying to get the sewers in, and the design had advanced so far that the DPW decided to move forward with the sewer project, regardless of what happens with the duct bank project. So.
Okay.
I can share my screen if you guys haven't looked at everything, or Erica, you can share yours, whatever you prefer, just to show you the project area, just to get a better
Sure, no, I
sense.
appreciate that.
I've gone ahead and given you the opportunity to go ahead and share, so you can go ahead, Michael.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, let me know when you guys can see that.
Got it.
Okay. So yeah, so this is the next phase of the sewer project. So the properties in purple are the areas to be sewered. It's about 10,000 linear feet of roadway that's being sewered. And you can see in the middle of the project, it cuts through the Centerville Historic District, which is basically from Main Street down to Churchill Road. So about 1,800 feet of the project area. Everything is below ground. There's no pump stations, no cross-country sewers. Everything's in the roadway, previously disturbed paved surface. It's 8 to 12-inch sewer versus a 4-foot wide duct bank. That's why I say there's much less impacts than the duct bank project. So I don't want to necessarily be associated with that one. But
that's okay. That's a good caution.
So everything is below ground, so no visual impacts. We do have language in our specs for vibration monitoring, similar to what we would include for a blasting project if it was in rock, to make sure the contractor is monitoring things within this district, especially. And then basically, we also submitted a project notification form to the MAC because the project is funded by the DEP with a low interest loan. So we need to get all state, local, and federal permits. So it is being reviewed by the state as well. But it was basically recommended that we come to you guys, explain what we're doing, see if there was any jurisdictional impacts or what we would need to do next.
Okay, thank you.
And I do have the sewer sheets. So this is the general overview. I do have the sewer sheet planner profiles. This was also part of the packet that you guys saw. Again, we're the smaller pipe. The duct is shown here for reference. We don't know if the duct will ever actually go in the ground, but we have to show it just to make sure it's not impacting our sewer.
Well, that's a good idea too, isn't it? Of course. All righty. Yeah, I think the duct bank was of much greater concern just because it's a much bigger deal to get in the ground and have handled. But the comparability notwithstanding, it was the comment to make, I felt was still a right one.
Absolutely, and I appreciate the reference to the other sewer projects. The DPW takes great pride in all of their projects, and they make sure
Sure.
they're all over. There's public communication by the communications department, and everyone's all over making sure we're not going to get to a situation where this is a big item.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, I live in Barnstable Village, and we were among the earliest sewered villages in the town, and back in the 80s. And in my Barnstable Village 1.0 existence in the early to mid 80s, all the roads had been repaved and everything looked lovely. What was left was the, oh my God, you should have been here yesterday, of the commotion and, distress of just everything going on around for a while. And that's pretty inescapable. I mean, we've all seen it. It's all over town to some degree.
Yep.
No blame to place on DPW or the town for it. It needs to happen, and I think it's being done as well as it can be.
Yep.
Commissioners, any comments or suggestions regarding the topic here beyond what's been discussed?
We still, we
Sure, Jack.
still have a final phase of the sewer that was just recently installed near Craigville, but we haven't. Craigville is last on the list, along with the Long Pond and Shortbridge Road and those, for the first phase of the Barnstable sewer. So I'm wondering, the line that goes on Old Craigville Road has not been completed. So the first phase is still out there. Is this going to be the first phase of the next major project?
Yes, and I thought that I said that earlier. If I didn't, I apologize. But this is the next phase. So basically, the Route 28 East project is the one that built that Finney's Lane pump station where the gas station used to be at Finney's and Route 28. So that added the new pump station and extended all the way to the treatment plant. Right now, we're getting ready to start construction on Route 28 West project, which basically puts all the sewers in from so Route 28 West and the portion you're talking about that extends down here to this tie-in point are in construction right now. So now we're just trying to get this project permitted to be the next one that goes out to bid and gets constructed next year.
Yeah, and to add into that too, if I may, is Centerville Village was actually broken up into two projects. So the Centerville North was actually done as part of what Mike was just mentioning. That way we could get in everything north of 28. So now this second portion of that project is everything south of 28, essentially completing that aspect. So originally the duct bank was supposed to go all the way from Craigville all the way up to Route 6, essentially, or just south of Route 6. But this is the second lower half of that we didn't necessarily need to initially push through at that time. So
I'm sure you guys are not actually surprised that despite the incredible care with which the town is trying to explain all this for all of us, we mostly still get scrambled and confused about what happens when.
Because there's a lot of different phases. And
Mike and I stare at this daily, so we understand.
Yeah, I thought so. I just wanted to say it out loud.
Yeah.
And it seems peculiar intuitively to some of us who are not in the business. And Jack's been closer to this kind of thing probably than most of the other commissioners in terms of his profession. But
and this is beyond your jurisdiction, obviously, but even for further background, this project here that's highlighted in purple was originally going to extend all the way down Craigville Beach Road, all the way to the Tradewinds condo complex, but we didn't have all the Concom permits in time. So we broke it up again and pulled this piece off so that it wasn't going to hold up this project specifically. So everything is moving.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a series of moving targets for those of us paying attention to it from the outside perimeter, which is fine, right?
Correct.
So I get it. Other commissioners, any comments, any further feedback for DPW on this subject? What made me think of the comment that, we hope you'll be mindful of historic resources along the full length of the corridor is that we have had hearings for buildings that are outside the district but near it and in the last year or so, and therefore we're mindful of their existence and don't want to help you get into any mischief you don't want to get into either.
Absolutely. Nope,
Okay.
yeah. There's pre-construction videos, and like I said, we'll pre-monitor anything that we're remotely concerned about.
Sure. Erica, do we need to vote on anything about this as far as you're concerned? Do you sense that we need to
as long as the
formalize this?
commission is comfortable with this project being straight in the roadways, I feel as if for the most part, the impact is minimal and jurisdictional doesn't reach to this
Mhm.
project, because there
Right.
is no partial or full demolition of any of the historic structures in the area.
Sure.
But other than
Yeah,
that, I
in
think
our
if the commission's
advisory
good, then
capacity or our advisory role to the town council, which is the other aspect with which we exist, we've already done that in terms of passing some comments on to you gentlemen, and I appreciate your being here for the hearing. Thank you. Great. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I believe I'm still correct. We do not have an applicant in the room for our first hearing. We have two minutes available, draft sets of draft minutes to approve. And I would appreciate a motion to do so, assuming you commissioners are comfortable with that.
Yeah,
So we have January 20th, 2026, and January 27th, our last meeting, 2026, and those were presented in the Laserfiche as well. And could I have a motion, please, to approve those minutes?
so moved, Jack.
Thank you, Jack, in a second.
Seconded.
Thank you, Andrew. And Mr. Clerk, would you please poll the commissioners to make sure that this goes through right? John, you're on mute, sir.
Try again. Andrew Fisher,
There you go.
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Is this for the 20th only?
No, it's the 20th and the 27th.
Seventh?
27th. Yeah, it's for
Then
both.
I have to abstain because I did not attend the 27th.
That's fine. Thank you. That's all right. We have enough of a quorum to continue, I believe. Yes, we do.
so then Nancy Shoemaker,
It's all fine with me.
okay, Cheryl's not here, Jack Kay,
Hi.
Bob Tracy,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Mr. Murphy, are you here to present for the property on Wally Court?
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Oh,
Mr.
excellent.
Commissioner.
Good.
Yes.
I'm glad you snuck in. We're gonna run out of time, but I don't think this is complicated. Let me read that hearing. Actually, I read it. We're in a public hearing for it, aren't we? Yes.
in order,
So,
I
correct.
believe so. Yep,
yep.
yes.
So jump in. Thank you.
Well, my client on 12 Wally Court, she is adding a garage above, excuse me, a room above her garage. The house was built the original was built in 1974 and renovated, adding a garage to it. It was a ranch, was added onto it in 1988. So we were just trying to see if there's anything additional you need, is because we feel like it was an historical home. But as you can see, we're just trying to add a little bit more space to her living.
Sure. Well, thank you for coming in. And I want to explain the reason that we have as a policy, anytime a building 75 years of age or older
Correct.
comes in for a partial or a full demolition or to be moved, we automatically hear it to make sure we don't miss anything important about it.
Completely
And
understand.
I realized, I mean, so some of this building is 1948, which is the part
Oh,
that is
okay.
what you're not actually doing much with, which is
Right.
good. But that was what triggered the reason for you to come in. It's the older portion of it.
Excellent.
And I was out there and looked at it today, of course, and I looked at the plans. I'm happy to hear from our commissioners. My personal reaction was that in a number of ways, it's arguably an improvement of how it looks. Obviously, it's going to be a practical addition for the homeowner, and that's always nice. I don't personally feel there was anything architecturally or historically significant that we should protect or preserve about this, and that therefore is more of a formality to hear it. But the picture on the screen right now is the existing structure, and there is a two-car garage. And as I understand it, the footprint will not change. What's changing is the second story or the addition of a second story, the connection to the older building, and then a reduction of garage doors from 2 to 1.
Correct.
Any comments from commissioners?
Is the loss of the second garage the addition of a first floor room? Or
That
is,
will end up being a family room. She has a number of grandchildren. She just wants to entertain when they come to visit.
so
Mhm.
you are gonna wall off the single car garage from that area and it'll be part of the house?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Okay.
Alrighty. Anyone else? Any questions or thoughts?
Nope.
I'm not seeing any. Jessica, Erica, did we have any, we didn't have any public comment on this, I don't think. And I don't believe we have anybody in the room to comment, do we?
Chair, there is no public comment concerning this item.
Alrighty. That being the case, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
So moved.
Yeah.
And a second, please.
Seconded me,
Seconded.
Nancy
Thank you.
Shoemaker.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, would you please poll the members for closing the hearing?
Certainly. Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Bob Tracy,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.
Alrighty. Public hearing is closed. We need to read the motions for this. Again, Mr. Clerk, are you still game?
Yep, ready to go.
Alrighty, thank you.
All right, Bourgeois, Christine and Foley, Elizabeth, 12 Wally Court, Hyannis, map 324, parcel 021, built 1948. Partial demolition, remove garage rafters, roof only, and add new second floor family room. Remove first floor interior wall between garage and existing living room. Motion 1. I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building, 12 Wally Court, Hyannis, is a preferably preserved significant building.
And a second, please.
I'll second that, Nancy Shoemaker.
Thank you, Nancy. An aye vote will impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, Andrew Fisher.
Nay. Yeah,
Barbara,
nay.
thank you. Barbara DiBiase,
Nay.
Nancy Shoemaker,
Nay.
Jack Kay,
Nay.
Bob Frazee,
Nay.
and John Richmond, nay.
And our second motion.
All right. I move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the single-family dwelling located 12 Wally Court, Hyannis, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
And could I have a second, please?
I'll second that, Nancy Shoemaker.
Thank you, Nancy. An aye vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family dwelling is not detrimental. No demolition delay will be imposed. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you again, Mr. Murphy, for coming in. I appreciate that.
Commissioners, thank you for your patience and for your
No
time,
worries.
and
All
have a
good.
good night. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. You
Thank
too, sir. Cheers.
Awesome. Cheers.
Discussion of upcoming historical events open to the public. What do we got? Anybody?
Yeah.
I have something that's interesting. It's not open to the public, but I did want to make you aware of it.
Sure.
And that is, I'm doing that, inside Barnstable Town Government class.
Oh, good for you.
And at the last one, David Anthony, Director of Asset Management, expressed a desire to continue Donald Trazer's history of the town of Barnstable, picking up in 1939. And
that's a
so
cool
he is
idea.
looking for information and input towards that end.
Wow. It's a big
Okay.
job.
It's an enormous undertaking.
To put it mildly.
Well, let's say, obviously, I would think it'd be done in broad strokes.
Yeah.
But he asked for it. So I'm just trying to make
Totally.
you all aware of that. That's all.
Well, thank you. No, that's great. I, in that vein, was approached by Chris Clark, who was on our Zoom initially and isn't still, and I'm not surprised because it took a lot of time. But she,
Here.
oh, hi, Chris. I'm sorry. Did you have anything you wanted to say to us regarding the 250th? And you started to grab my arm a few days ago, and we never reconnected. And if this is an opportunity, you've got it. And if it isn't, you don't have to use it. It's up to you.
Thank you. Nancy Shoemaker is on that little committee to
Good.
draft some plans for our celebration. So I'll defer to her. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Nancy, you're on. I saw you about to say something anyway, so now's your shot.
Well, I mean, we have some things planned. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say some things that are not definite yet, but
No, this is a public meeting, so be
Probably-
careful. Is there something you
yeah,
shouldn't spring
yeah.
yet? Don't do that.
The committee was very impressed with the books that we've done in the past, the 350th, Donald Trazer's way back.
Mhm.
I have books from 1839,
Wow.
4 different copies of 2 different publications. So we have a lot of interesting things where the project that I don't think I'm supposed to really describe yet will involve high school students and get them more interested. Not that they aren't already, but we haven't presented them with that beautiful dinner plate as much as we should. I know so many young people who are getting more and more interested in local history.
Which is
So,
delightful
wonderful.
and necessary in so many ways. That's great.
Yeah.
Well,
I
thank
see
you.
John over there peeking through the black area. Oh, yeah. You see him just now? So sorry.
There is also a Barnstable Historical Society event open to the public by ticketing on February 27th, Saturday, Friday. I forgot
No.
what day of the week it is.
Uh,
It's on their website, and I would encourage it. It's what do you know about Barnstable and trivia,
yeah.
and it should be interesting, and it will be a little food and refreshment event too. I usually
Yeah, it's a
believe that
dinner.
is the case.
We had one last year and had wonderful pouring in of people with, and what we did then too was you have dinner, you talk with people and so on. And then we have a subject, and that subject not only is, there's not a speaker per se, but a few of us to get the ball rolling, and then people can get up and say their thing. And last year it was, what did you do in the 1978 snowstorm? And we
That's
had
right.
some very
Forgot.
interesting stories. So this one, I'm not sure which ones I'm going to work on, but I have a few good ones that I'm going to, stories of something about a house, about an individual, about an institution that maybe nobody knew about before, like that
One year
big.
people talked about bowling jack-o'-lanterns down the hill from Cobb's Hill into the village center on the street. Remember? Pranks, in other
Oh.
words. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was an earlier, some years ago meeting.
Hmm.
It's
Was
a
that
fun time.
Was that a blacksmith that
It could
did
have been
that?
a blacksmith story.
Yeah.
It could also have been could also have been an ex-fire chief story, as a matter of fact.
Well, and we have a Crocker who has stories about that the Brits were there. I'm not sure if his timing is quite right, but that Brits were off in the Barnstable Harbor and they were aiming cannons at them, as they certainly did during the American Revolution in Falmouth. And so they had their own little method of getting the Brits frightened away with their cannons.
Got it. Good
So
stories.
it's good, interesting, juicy, fun stories, hopefully that many haven't heard and now will appreciate. So,
Got it. Well, thank you.
yeah. Unitarian Church, Barnstable Village.
Anybody
I
else have
did-
anything? Whoop, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Bob. I could just clarify that this is on Friday, February 27th at 5:30 at the Unitarian Church in Barnstable. And there's a charge, $50 per person.
Right.
Or 45 for members of the Barnstable Historical Society.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I was thinking of some of that and couldn't recall it well enough to say it. Awesome. Anyone else have any other business? I believe we've finished our agenda. I'm awfully glad that Mr. Murphy appeared for us to conclude his hearing. If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting is March 17th at 4 o'clock by Zoom.
Yep. I move that we close our meeting.
I like that motion. Could I have a second?
I'll second it, Jack.
All righty. And Mr. Clerk, would you take the roll?
Certainly. Okay, Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Hi.
Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Hi.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.